Hey there, my name is Graham, and today we're going to be walking through a short and fun coding exercise. We'll be working in Python today, and although there are tons of languages we could use, all of which have the same powerful tools we're trying to learn, Python's just the easiest to understand in my opinion. So the function we'll be implementing is called twins. It takes as input one string and returns a copy of the input string where every character is repeated twice. So ABC would become AABBCC. And as a quick understanding check, what would twins of book be? Spot on. BB, four O's, and then two K's. And what about twins one, two, three? Huh? Well, if we actually tried to run this input with their function, we'd probably throw an error. But we're going to be assuming today that our input can only be a string and that no other data types are allowed. Nevertheless, it's always good to be thinking about these edge cases as programmers, and that's all I wanted to demonstrate there. So let's dive in. We've got our input, but how do we actually read that in? In other words, if you were doing this on paper, how would you process the input? Like in what order? All the letters at once, back to front? Yeah, we basically start with the first letter in isolation, then read the second letter on its own, then the third, and so on. And do you know of any powerful programming tools that let us iterate through something one by one? Exactly. Our old friend, the for loop. And in Python, that's going to look like this, where char is our iterator and it represents a single character in input. And we know that we want to double our characters, so let's do that. But once we have this, char plus char, where do we store that? Where do we keep track of it? Well, what are we returning? Maybe think about that. Exactly. We're returning an output. And what do we have to do first? What's step one? Yep. Let's initialize it as an empty string because that's the data type we're working with. And as you said, we want to store char plus char into output. Now, we're not fully finished yet, but let's run this and see what we get. Okay, let's just look at this first test case. ABC becomes CC. Well, that's not what we wanted. Do you think you can explain what went wrong here? Yeah, exactly. Output keeps getting reassigned on every iteration. First, it's AA, then it gets reset to BB, and then CC, and that's what we're left with. So what small, simple change would you make here? Exactly. We need to reference output on both sides of the equation so that we build up. Essentially, on each loop, we're going to set output equal to itself and then some. In this way, we'll retain memory of what we've put in output previously in our bottom-up approach. So now I think we've got a fully functioning test setup. So let me delete some of these extra test cases and see what we get. Perfect. Beautiful. Just what we want. Twins of ABC is AABBCC. Um, so tell me, what other test cases can we try? What haven't we covered yet? Okay, yeah, we can try some special characters, make sure that our function isn't discriminating to only letters of the alphabet. And what else? I think there's one big thing we haven't tried yet. Yeah, let's try the empty string. And what do you expect to output here? Uh-huh. If 2 times 0 is 0, then we'd expect twins of the empty string to also be the empty string. So let's run our function one more time. And ABC becomes AABBCC. Here we have two exclamation marks, two at signs, and so on. That checks out. And our empty string stays an empty string. So I hope you had fun today and learned about for loops, self-reference of variables, and testing the edge cases. And I look forward to working again next time. Till then, I'm Graham.